Sometime back, my friends, I took a look at the NatureHike Kota 6-person tent, which I have to say is an awesome shelter. What made that shelter so unique, so awesome, is the fact that it's a hybrid shelter. That is a tent that you can use in the summertime as well as the wintertime. It's a hybrid tent, which is very uncommon. That tent is in fact a hot tent, meaning that you can have a wood stove in it if you wanted to. After I put up a handful of videos concerning that tent, I received a number of requests to check out the larger 8-person Kota. Folks, that's what you have here. You asked and you shall receive. Something that's really interesting about the Kota series of tents is that every single one is extremely different. There's a 4-person, which I have not checked out. Then there's the 6-person, which is a hybrid hot tent. And here we have the 8-person tent that was designed for summertime conditions. This tent is all about camping in warm conditions. It's all about ventilation and airflow, and it shows. The design is quite impressive, to be honest. My name is Luke. This is the Outdoor Gear Review. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Today, we are focusing on the Kota 8-person tent. Everyone, this tent is a monster. It is huge. Here in a minute, I'll go over the dimensions, but it is gigantic. What I find most impressive about this shelter already is the amount of mesh. That is something that you typically do not find with tents of this size. I will talk more about that in just a minute. To start off, let's take a look at the features of the Kota 8. You are now looking at the front of the 8-person Kota tent. This is a doorway. So we have a zipper here and a zipper over here. Over those zippers, we have storm flaps. At the bottom of this door panel, we have grommets, and that's because you can set this up as an awning. Unfortunately, this tent does not come with poles to set up the awning, but luckily I have some green elephant poles and they'll work perfectly for the setup. Here in a minute, we'll address that. Up at the very top of this tent, in the center, we have a guy line tie-off point. Here we have a vent, and on the other side of the door, we have another vent. As we come along the side of the tent, again, you can see the vent here. We have 3 tie-off points. Back here, we have a large mesh window, which can be sealed up on the inside. Coming to the back of the tent, we have an additional door, which opens up at the bottom, unzips at the top, and over that zipper, we have a storm flap. With the rear of the tent, you can see the doorway. Up above that, there's an additional vent. I have to say though, it's rather high up, and because of the steep angle of the tent, most people are going to have a hard time opening this. Coming around to this side of the tent, we have the 3 tie-off points. We have the large mesh window, and we have the vent. From here, I'm going to need some poles, and what I'm going to use are these green elephant telescoping poles. Let's see. That's pretty good, right here. What I like to do with the guy lines is to tie slip knots in them so that I can easily attach the top of the slip knot to the posts on the green elephant poles. That way I can secure the line to the pole super fast and also take them down super fast. Check this out. Through the grommets, put on the cap. You take your slip knot, go over the top, pull, and now you can stake this out. Just like that. I have said it time and time again, if you can master the slip knot, which is super simple, you will master the outdoors. This is the one knot that will make your life incredibly easy when you're going out camping and whatnot. Since we have the front door and the awning open on the other side, let's go ahead and open up this back door so you can see what it looks like. With the awning set up here, you can see just how big this is. Unfortunately, it's not tall enough for you to stand up underneath it. Not unless you want to take like an additional green elephant pole and stick it like in the middle, in the corner, something like that, which you certainly could do. Under here, you can have 2 chairs, a table, and you can stay out of the sunlight. This is a dry weather only awning. Now that we've taken a look at the fly, the awning, the back door, the front door, let's take a look at the inside of the tent. We are now looking at the inner for the Kota 8-person tent. What stands out first when you see this is the size. It is super tall, super wide, and incredibly long. The next thing that you notice is the mesh. The orange mesh. This tent is covered in mesh with very few fabric panels. We have mesh at the front, mesh on the sides, mesh at the back, mesh on top. We do have a bathtub floor that sticks up roughly 7 inches. Here at the front door, we have an upside down T zipper formation. You can open up both panels if you want a very large entryway, or you can open up just one panel at a time. At the back side of the tent, we have one door. Going to the inside of the tent, you can see that back door there. You can see the first window with the panel cover, the second window with the panel cover. The seams have been taped on the floor here, and we have numerous mesh pockets. One here, another over here. Here's a storage pocket. And up here at the top, we have a hook for hanging. When it's raining, these panels can be zipped up to keep the water out. And you'll see what I'm talking about once I get the fly on, because the fly is rather unusual. Look at all of the mesh on this tent, everyone. There is a ton of it. Before I touch upon my impressions of this tent, let's go over some stats. With this shelter, you have 2 doors, you have 2 windows, 3 vents. This tent is designed for 8 to 10 people. This is a 3-season shelter. And when it comes to the materials, you're looking at a combination of a 65D 210T polyester and a 150 denier Oxford polyester. We have 7001 aluminum poles, steel tent stakes. The waterproof rating for this shelter is 3,000 millimeters. When it comes to the stored dimensions, it's actually not too bad. It's rather compact. You're looking at 24.8 inches by 11 inches. When it comes to the full dimensions of this tent, get ready, everyone. I told you all, this is a big tent. You're looking at a shelter that is 18 feet long, 9.3 feet wide, and it stands 6 foot tall. Lastly, when it comes to the weight of this tent, it's not bad, 19 pounds. As far as the price, retail is $300. At the time of filming, I don't believe there's any discounts, so it's $300, or at least that's the case on Amazon. In regards to what is included with this tent, we have 4 poles, the rainfly, the tent inner. We have 15 tent stakes, 8 guy lines, 1 compression strap for the entire tent, the storage bag for the tent and all the components, a storage bag for the poles, and a storage bag for the tent stakes and guy lines. Now everyone, let's go over my impressions of this tent so far. So right out of the gate, we have to talk about the size of this thing. It is huge. This is a serious tent. If you're someone who wants a very large tent, you should certainly consider this one. That is, of course, as long as the tent proves itself to be waterproof and a good performer with condensation control and ventilation, all of which I will test out soon enough. The quality of this shelter is truly impressive. It's amazing to me how good the quality is on a tent this big. Imagine how many seams there are, how much stitching. I've looked this tent over very carefully. There's not a single issue when it comes to the stitching. Everything about this tent looks perfect. As far as issues go, I don't see any right now, but I do need to do some waterproof testing. My biggest question is whether or not those window panels are going to be waterproof. If you go back maybe 10 years ago, if a company was trying to do internal waterproof panels, you could just discount that tent. It was not going to be good. It was going to leak. 5 years ago, things changed. Companies finally figured out how to do it, how to do those internal panels and make them waterproof. With that being said, I don't expect any issues with this tent, but ultimately we will have to test it out. That is the only potential issue that I see with this tent. I don't think the fly is going to leak, but those internal panels, you never know. When it comes to the setup process for this tent, it's relatively easy and straightforward. You have 4 poles, 2 extremely long poles. They are possibly the longest tent poles I have ever seen on a tent. Those 2 go cross body. Then you have a shorter pole. That is the support pole that goes over the top. Then you have a slightly longer pole and that goes at the front. All in all, it's an easy setup. The only thing that might trip you up is the size. One person can certainly do this. I did it in about 15 minutes. If you're inexperienced, it might take you longer. If there's 2 people setting up this tent, you can get it done in no time. Ultimately, again folks, everything here, it makes sense. There's not much that's going to trip you up. As far as the doors go, they are easy to get into and out of, and they're also large. And that's the case here at the front and also the back. You do have a bathtub floor that sticks up about 7 inches, but still, the doorways are so large, you should be able to get into and out of this tent very easily, even if you have some sort of mobility issue. As far as space goes on the inside, absolutely massive. This is a very, very big tent. You can fit countless air mattresses on the inside, countless cots. I mean, the possibilities for the inside of this tent and the possible setups that you can do are endless. Airflow and ventilation with this tent should be fantastic. You have mesh that surrounds basically the entire tent with very little fabric. You have mesh up top. For the most part, the fly pulls away from the inner, so you should get good airflow with this tent. That is something, of course, I will be testing out soon, so stay tuned. Let's see here. With the vents, I don't suspect there's going to be any issues there. Even in a knockdown thunderstorm, they should not leak. The lip on the inside is deep enough where you shouldn't have any problems unless you're camping out in a tropical storm or something, you know? And that, everyone, I think is it for this episode. We've gone over just about every feature with this tent. We've gone over every single stat, every bit of information that you need. In the next couple of weeks, I will begin testing out this tent, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to get this out during a good thunderstorm to see how well it performs. This tent is looking really, really good. What do you think about those side panels at the windows? Will they be waterproof? Will they leak? I'm going to say that NatureHike has done their testing and it's not going to be an issue. But with internal flies like that, you just never know. That's why we got to test it out. And that, my friends, will be coming up very soon. If you enjoyed this episode, if you found it helpful, please hit the thumbs up. I do appreciate it. For now, folks, I am done. Take care. Be well. Strength and honor. Stay cool out there. It's hot. It's about 85 today, and I feel every single digit of that. It's warm.